Will you please all remain standing for a moment of silence for our armed forces across our country who are fighting for our freedom and those who have lost their lives in doing so. Thank you. No, we did not put it in the newspaper, but we certainly can take public comment if that's, I mean, this is your budget. If the residents feel like they need to speak, I certainly would want to hear what you have to say, but that's, is there people who need to make comments on this budget and would like to be heard? If so, let's have a round of applause of some sort that you would like to speak. Okay, do I have a motion from the board to open the public comment? The public does not, the board does not wish to hear from the public?
Can you make the motion without the commentary?
I'm asking a question.
Well, make the motion, and nobody seconded it, did they?
Okay, Mr. Morris, there's no need for you to attack me. I'm asking a question.
Again, you're
Does the
politicizing
board-
the thing.
Is there a motion to open public comment with regards to the budget adoption this evening? I will make the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I,
Why don't you do roll call?
Okay, Mr. Morris?
I'm opposed.
Mr. Morris is a no?
No.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. Okay, so there is a public comment open. If you would like to speak, please come up to the microphone. State your name and address, and please address the board. Thank you. Who would like to speak?
Scott Brown, CSEA, Village of Suffern, Unit President. I just got this looking over it this afternoon, the budget, and some of the items that I have highlighted here, and I can't make rhyme or reason out of them. As soon as I get the page, we'll get to it. Hold on one second. Here. Yep. All right, we have a clerk part-time. We're on page 19. Under street administration, part-time clerk. There's no increase in her salary for this year. Is there a reason for that? Under our contract, she is entitled to a 2.75 increase. This budget reflects none of that.
Scott, if she is part of the union,
Yes, she is.
then her raise should have been reflected in this budget.
So that goes for all the part-time employees. that don't have increases in this budget, they will be added?
If they are part of the bargaining unit, they should be added. I am only one person, but it's my opinion that they should be added in, yes.
Is that an agreement with the board, that they're going to be added?
Well, I would ask Terry, is it a contractual obligation?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to take a look at the contract. My understanding is that the part-time employees are covered by the contract.
I mean, if they're covered by the contract, then there would be no other answer to that question.
Okay, then they're covered. All right, that settles that, so we can leave that one be. Now we have a laborer position here that's being eliminated. It's not going to be filled. Under the street department, same page, street maintenance. We're just going to eliminate that position?
It's not being eliminated, it's just not being funded.
Okay. On the next line, now these are round numbers. They're not exactly, I just did this fast. The next labor position is being a $6,000 decrease. I don't know, why is there a $6,000 decrease?
Scott, tell me where you are.
Right on labor, the second labor position on page 19, under street maintenance.
The second one under street maintenance, I see what you're saying.
Second.
It went from 43.5 to 37.8. I rounded it off to 6,000.
Okay, it's hard for me to know because I don't have names here.
Maybe Mike might.
Mike, could you tell us, because I don't have names onto these positions, I just have the positions. so I
Sure,
don't know who
and
that
just,
pertains
first of all, I want to thank Barbara Cartier for being here because she's our deputy and does a lot of the payroll work. That's a new person that started this year in that position, I believe, from what Barbara's telling me.
Okay.
And so it's a lower salary starting.
Okay, answers the question. That answers the question. Now, the fourth laborer down, 1, 2, 3, 4, is going up $9,000. How I just, I'm not only looking at minuses here, I'm looking at pluses. So that one's going up 9,000. How is that possible? It's going from 37.8 to,
the
43.8,
524?
35.6 to 44.5.
Right, got that line.
That's going up on 9,000 on round numbers. Okay, all right, that's why we got it. She said that it's a change of position,
What is the
but I don't
change?
understand how it could be, but that's funded under the MEO position, not the labor position. In other words, if a laborer becomes an MEO 1, he goes to that position. He doesn't stay at the labor as a higher salary.
Right, it should go to the MEO 1 position. It shouldn't be still on the laborer line. I understand what you're saying. So that has to be changed to an MEO 1 instead of a laborer.
But it doesn't change the number.
But it doesn't change the number.
Oh, okay, I'm just like I said.
No, I appreciate
Plus or
that.
minus, I'm just looking at the numbers here.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that.
Last year, the total, now if you add the refuse department and the street department for their overtime, it was $120,000. This year, just for the street department, it was $90,000 for overtime. That includes snow removal, snow plowing, weekend standby, parades, you name it, anything, emergencies, any emergency was $90,000. This year, we're going to spend $60,000? Minus $30,000, is that realistic?
No, I agree with you, Scott. I don't believe that's a realistic number, and I think that's all that's going to do is going to cause a deficit, and it's going to cause a problem with not having enough money to afford the services that this village needs with snow removal and with emergencies and also street fairs and the different events that happen about the village. So I don't believe that I don't understand how you can take away positions and also decrease the overtime budget. So I happen to agree with you on that. I don't think that's a realistic number, and I wouldn't be in favor of that.
Okay, the other number I get is a 42,000 decrease. I'm not an accountant, I can't figure out how that that 42,000 comes out if you add a couple thousand and subtract a couple thousand. I don't know where the
Where are you?
$12,000 comes from.
Where are you?
Right at the bottom, total street maintenance, minus 42,000.
That would be in taking out the...
30,000.
The overtime and then the various other things that have been reduced.
Okay, well, it just does, that's showing salaries here, it doesn't show anything else to come up with that $42,000.
Is that a total number, Mike? Allocations out, it's a total number.
42,000 equal.
From here, from 719 to 681.
Okay, you're comparing last year's total to this
Right,
year's total.
right.
And these are the totals for each year, so you don't,
Well, last year it was 719,000, and this year it's going to be 681,000. It's $42,000 round numbers.
okay,
Right,
well,
but you
we
have-
had this 35,000 right here, right? For that one position, labor position that's out. It's 35,000 of it, and then the rest is probably the
talking to the mic?
different. I think most of it is the 35,000 from that one labor position that's
Okay.
out.
Plus the 30,000 in the overtime.
Correct.
Okay. All right, the pool register clerk. She made $1,300 last year registering the residents for the pool. We're not going to register the residents for the pool this year?
Again, I agree with you. I don't know how the residents are going to get registered. This is something that's done in the evening hours to accommodate the residents. I don't know, this is one of the trustees' recommendations. I don't know if they have an answer for that, Scott.
Do we have an answer, or no? Anyone? Ed? He's smiling at me.
We will take all your questions into consideration, Scott, and we'll have them documented, and we will review the budget, which we're doing throughout the night.
Okay? So now we're on, again, the no raises for the part-timers. We settled that. Now we have a part-time custodial at the rec center. Eliminated her position. We're on page 20.
Let me just clarify, Scott.
Youth Recreation
Yeah.
Center.
Let me just clarify, the position has not been eliminated, it's just not been funded at the request of the trustees. Again, I don't know who will be cleaning the center, as we have dare dances and a lot of senior citizen functions as well at the center. If we do not have a custodian there to clean these events up, you'll have to ask the trustees on that, as well as who is going to be cleaning the center.
Mayor, I believe we spoke about that directly.
Not with me, we can't have someone who's not cleaning the center. There's no one to clean the center. Ed, I never spoke to you about that, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, I beg to differ, but we did in your office. Okay.
Well, my question is, who is going to clean the center? Is Kathy going up there to do it every day? Kathy, are you here? Are you going to do it? Okay, I hope not, too. I mean, seriously, that's a legitimate question here. Who is going to clean the building?
Okay, Al, you have to wait when it's your turn at the microphone.
I'll answer that question figuratively when the opportunity arises.
Thank you, Al.
All right, so we're not going to get an answer there. Now, I was assured, now we're going down the curbside waste district. My salary was not funded. Now, I was assured that's a typo. Can you assure me that's a typo?
Yes, Scott, I will assure you that was a typo.
Okay. The maintenance supervisor at the bottom of the page is minus $58,000.
For the
Maintenance supervisor.
Water.
water?
Water, yes.
Yeah, that was the remainder of the salary for Bob Conklin, as he has alerted the village that he's retiring. It does not, he was supposed to retire in August. He's since informed the village that he will not be retiring in August. It will be a little bit later than that, and that number reflects that retirement.
All right. Again, in that same category, the Water System Mechanic 2, there's a increase there of $3,266, and I'm just curious what that is. What?
Yeah, okay, that,
No, not wastewater, it's water, I think.
right, that is a promotion.
And we do know that promotional tests will be posted and, okay, all
Yes.
right. Then we're on the next page, page 21. The work for the sewer department, it says a negative $60,000. Now, I don't know what that is.
Work by water department, $60,000?
Traditionally, for many, many years, the village has charged the sewer department for work that's performed by water department employees who go out, for instance, and dig up lines and so forth.
Then my response be to that, where is the line item for the village street department? Because as far as I know, we do much more for the sewer department, and Nick can back me up on that, than the water department does.
Yeah, no, I think you're misunderstanding, Scott. So that line would be if in fact correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, that line would be if the street department did work for the water department, that line would be charged for that work, am I correct?
No. It is between the two departments because they have similar skills to working with piping and so forth. But this is something that's not new to the budget. It's been in the budget for many years. It's really work that's performed, as I understand it, by water department employees when they go out and do work on sewer lines.
So it's between the water and sewer?
That is correct.
Okay, so I used a bad example by the street. So it's between water and sewer, the work that's done between water and sewer. Is my
All
mic
right.
working? I feel like it's not now.
Now I'm not really sure about, now I'm going down to the sewer administration, it says wastewater treatment, the third item down, maintenance helper. It went down $9,000, maybe is that from Barbara? Is that from Jimmy to Aramis? Okay, now I understand what it's a different, one guy left, another guy took his position for less money, I understand that now. And, well, that's it. I got one more thing. It's at the beginning here. Let me find it. On page 17, account clerk is a plus 7,000.
Where are you? I'm sorry.
Page 17, treasurer, account clerk. Again, I'm not just looking at negative numbers here. To be fair, I'm looking at, positive numbers.
Go ahead.
I just wonder what that is.
The account clerk?
That's the deputies. Mike, can you explain the account clerk and the salary involved there,
Yes.
please?
Yeah, I believe that that was actually, what was in the budget last year didn't reflect a $5,000 stipend that was given for a deputy treasurer position.
Correct.
Which happened during this fiscal year.
Oh, so the stipend's just going into the salary.
Stipend with the increase. Is that right, Mike? With the contractual increase?
The only other thing I can say with this is, I thought the village sort of had a plan going forward. I was here the other night for the water and sewer rate increase. Nobody likes to pay more taxes, but to get this village out of a hole, and I'm not saying raise it 17 or 20%, but something realistic has to be has to be done, and everybody pays, and nobody likes to pay. I pay myself. You know, I might not pay here in the village, but I do pay, because I've heard that. And as far as it's been going around back and forth that the CSEA unit was the reason that none of the unions in the village would not take a zero this year, that is a flat-out lie. When we looked at this budget tentatively, I have 49 members in my unit, and the raises for this year is around $67,000 for 49 people. And looking at the budget, there was an item in there for $48,000 for an attorney, another attorney that we don't need. And I just couldn't even bring it to my people. You're going to pay this person $48,000, and you're going to take from the people that work and put out in this village and work hard and are lifelong employees, loyal employees, professional employees, and you're going to want to take their raise away to pay a lawyer that we don't need? Well, I just couldn't do that. Thank you.
Billy Ricaldo, the CSA Region President. I know you've got a tough task ahead of you with this budget. A lot of villages and towns are going through the struggles that you're going to. And, you know, we hope we could all get together to work it all out. But I must say, if you're going to work this out tonight, you sure got a lot of work coming because it's so confusing just looking at this budget the way it was presented. And I'll say this, you're getting rid of somebody who's registering at the pool. How much revenue are you going to lose from this? I'm just wondering if we're looking at the odds, the A's and the B's here to see how this is all going to balance. You know, I can understand the tough times and I can understand the positions aren't full. You know, I work for the county and, you know, we've seen a 30% raise a few years ago. And now it's coming to light where they're getting where they should be. It's taken them a few years and that's what's going to happen in this village. But don't forget about the residents of this village, the services that are provided to them all these years, and some of these services are going to be kicked back. This is what's going to happen here. Excuse me. This is what's going to happen here, and that's more important than sometimes raising the rate from 6% to 7% to see how it's going to balance out to everybody. It is a tough time. You guys are under a tough task. All I'm saying is try and clean this up so everybody can understand it. And I know the treasurer, the last time we here, gave a really good breakdown of A, B, and C on this budget and how to rectify it. But I think, like they're saying, nobody to clean the rec center. I think it is a big deal, and we should really look into it a little deeper, how you could work all this out. And not just take it out on, you know, you're going to have to take everything we do on the old village, because that's just the way it is. And like I said, you should work together with the village. You should see, one of the things that I think is a thing here is on a budget, is you should have a public hearing so the residents can hear it. So the residents can hear A, B, C in this whole budget, not just for people speaking. Let the trustees speak on the budget, on each part of it, so they do have a good feeling or a bad feeling, whatever it is, but at least it's coming from somebody.
Billy,
not just saying we're not going to do this.
We did have a public hearing on the
You
budget.
know, I know that was a while ago,
Yes.
but now you're going through and there's changes.
Yes.
And there's changes, and that's what I'm saying.
We also did make suggestions.
You know.
I actually made the suggestion to have a working committee on this budget to get through the process thoroughly and not, and have everybody involved in it as a committee. But it was something that Terry answered as not being as an ad hoc committee. So it was explored, and it is very complex to review this budget.
It is.
And I agree.
It is, and I know you're under the tough thing, but I also have to say, and I can remember why you wanted that attorney for $48,000. I can remember why you wanted to put it in there, but you know what? I don't think now's the time to do it. $48,000 go a long way.
Well, the attorney is removed.
Oh, it is.
The attorney has been removed.
Okay.
The attorney was not pursued, just for the public's information.
Well, I'm just saying for
Okay.
the way it sees here, it's...
Yep. Absolutely. We heard you.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, board members, Nick Fabricatori, CSEA Unit Vice President. I also am the Assistant Chief Operator at the wastewater treatment plant. I just want to point out something that Scott missed when he spoke about, the CSEA being the union that stopped all the other unions from taking the 275 offer. I do want to let everybody know that the CSEA proposed a counter offer, Scott and myself. It wasn't discussed with CSEA management, but we were just trying to help the village out. And we did propose that the unit would take 2 zeros for 2 years. And then if the board would increase our contract to May 2020, and then extend that out with the 275s after the 2 years. So I just want to point that out, that we did offer to help the board and help this budget, so this way you guys could reduce the taxes for the next 2 years until we fiscally had control of the budget. Thank you.
It works, the mic? It works. Al D'Ambrosio, 4 Cross Street, Suffern, New York. It's good to see all of you good gentlemen and ladies, and all of you hard-working people here who are upset. I am drawing reference to the last meeting where we didn't have any real input at the time, but this time we're getting a little input, which is important and about time. I remember hearing one of the gentlemen or ladies up at the aisle here draw a reference that, I got that information at the last minute, something like 11 o'clock at night or something like that. And my concern then, without thinking about it until now, was, gee, if they're getting these answers, and some of them, and it doesn't mean they're the right answers, at 11 o'clock at night, and the meeting is the next day, that's the night of the meeting we had, how the hell could we really expect much constructive conclusions? It's literally impossible. And the next point is, dealing with, if we're trying to save money, you're darn right you can't have new programs and you can't have additional things. If you're broke, you're broke. Recognize, I don't care how many nice things what you want, you can't have it. That's just one point. The other point is, if you're talking about hiring, make sure you can afford to hire. If you're talking about people who are here who are loyal, all this and that, well, make sure they're not getting too much money, up, because then it works against you. That happened to me. I got kissed off. I mentioned that the last time. Nobody gave a damn with AIG when I went, hey, we have to save money. And I was low on the totem hourly salary for 30-plus years, and low. But the bottom line was, when it was time to kiss me off, they kissed me off without batting an eye. So I'm just saying, these stark truths have to be faced. You're broke, our nation is broke, and we're trying to fix just our town. That means you can't have a lot of things. If I can't have my pool, then I can't have my pool. If you have to have people who donate their labor, or if you have to get it from the penal battalion or something, then get it from the jail. Why? They're willing to get something. If they can get a free meal or something better than what they have, get the help where you can get it. But don't say you can't, because I know darn well we all can. So we're in this boat together. You want to go down a cesspool together, or you want to try and make it work? Because tomorrow is up to us. You better think that one over.
Hi, my name is John Mallon. I'm the Suffern PBA president. I'm here to let the board and the residents know that the village of Suffern has achieved the distinction of being the 87th safest community in the United States. It was noted in this report that Suffern has 95% less crime than the average community in the United States. I know that Chief Osborne's efforts in community policing were a major factor in this ranking. But I also think that the residents we serve, with their cooperation, has a major effect on this, making this community a great place to live, raise, and work, and raise a family. I'm asking the board to seriously consider that any cuts they will make and how it will impact the village services. If this budget is not thoughtful and prudent, it may have a domino effect. I also want to mention that today our K-9 officer, Lou Venturini and Patriot, they did a major role in capturing, abducting someone, I'm sorry, I don't have it written down, so I'm trying to remember it. Somebody was wanted for sexual assault, kidnapping, and they abducted somebody, and Canine Patriot had found him, was able to find him and bring him to justice.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Village Board. Good evening, residents of Suffern. My name is Kathy Mills, and I am a village resident as well as a village employee. When I looked at the budget today online, I was very shocked to look at the Recreation Department and to see that you cut 2 positions from a staff of 5, to see that the Recreation Assistant as custodian in the community center was cut. I don't know if you realize that over at the community center, in 1 week, 17 hours to work with one person is going to cut a lot of the recreation programs that we have. And the gentleman here mentioned if we don't have it and you know, we need to suffer from it. The residents in this village deserve what we're paying our taxes for. The community center alone is being used for youth programs, for senior programs, for all of our residents. We do that because we want to give back to the residents. The other position that I was shocked by was the pool registration clerk. If anyone in this village has been a resident here before this year and has signed up for the pool, you know that it's in the evenings. My question to the board is, when do you factor in that we're going to be registering residents for the pool? I don't know if anyone can answer that or if it's something to think about. No. Again, it's done for the ease of the residents. The registration is done in the evenings from 5:30 to 7:30, and it's done on Saturdays and Sundays. The staff that we currently have is all part-timers. They work Monday through Friday, only Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for one person in the office, Tuesday and Thursday for the other one. We're stretched thin as it is. The summer is coming, and I can't fathom how, without this person doing the pool registration, we're going to be able to do that for the residents. I can't imagine we're going to ask them to come in between 8 and 4 to register for the pool.
Kathy, I just want to commend you. I just want the residents to know that Kathy Mills has gotten her budget down this year by 24.9%. Well, I shouldn't say 24.9. That's with the additions from the trustees of the, I think you had about 20% on your own.
Something like, yes.
Yeah, so Kathy's given back quite a bit from Recreation to help with the budget. The trustees have proposed these additional cuts in the budget. And Kathy, I wanted to thank you because I really know that you put your pencil to the paper and did your best to cut back as much as you can. So I agree with you, these extra cuts to the budget really are probably not effective for the program. So
Thank you, Mayor. And just as another comment to that, the Recreation Department has been commended for doing all of our events, which we do 12 months a year, in the amount of time that we are allotted. We don't go overtime. Very rarely will Recreation go overtime. So we're that department that you can't say we're going way over our budget. That hasn't happened. It will continue not to happen. But again, I was very surprised to see the positions were put off today. The other part to this, I noticed that I will not be getting a raise. I am not complaining. I would like my department to stay as is. I would even forego my raise. But my question to you, board members, if your wife or husband worked at a job with about 150 people, and they came home to you at night and said, 150 people I work with, I was one of the 5 or 10 that did not get a raise, how do you think that would make you feel? My husband, when I go home and tell him that I did not get a raise and everybody else within the village is getting a raise, how do we explain that? Again, I would rather not take my raise for the positions that are getting knocked in Recreation. That's my comment. Thank you.
How you doing? Michael Curley, 84 Orange Avenue, Suffern, New York. I just want to, the budget process has been going through for a little while. When it originally started, it started at 22.8%, okay? I think the mayor, on her own recommendations, brought it down to about 17% or 17 and change, somewhere around there. I think then the other 4 trustees brought another percent or maybe up to 2%, okay? I think if I'm somewhere around there, unless there's some magical things happening tonight, okay? We're here because, as you know, the state came down and rated us, and they gave us a very bad rating, okay? So my concern is not just that New York State is going to come and give us another bad rating, because the ratings we're getting are from prior years, so this one won't come for another year or two, okay? But I'm concerned about the outside communities that are giving us a bad rating. I'm concerned about who from the outside is looking at us and what I call shopping, okay? So I don't see it as, unfortunately, my tax, I have a commercial building, so my tax increase, because what its value is higher than everyone else's here, right? And I don't want it, but I have some personal knowledge where I know there's outside people looking in this community, all right? They came to me and through my attorney made me an offer, approximately $1.4 million, okay? There was a confidential agreement signed with my attorney, okay? As I discovered more and more who and what was making a deal with me, okay? The only reason I can speak right now is because I'm turning down that deal, okay? And you know what? I need that money. I'm in trouble, okay? I work every day. I struggle every day, okay? But I recognize in Suffern we got a choice, okay? We're going to go up or we're going down, okay? Because every day people are looking, okay? I don't want this tax to increase as much as anyone does, okay? But unfortunately, we have to have it, okay? We have to have it, okay? As you see, they went through all the services they cut. It's minimal when you go, right? We don't have this bloated village, okay? You may think we do, but we don't, okay? Like they went to the police department. The police department cut 2 police cars. They got dispatchers. They cut. There's a list of things that they cut. Okay. The DPW is taking cuts. All right. But if you want to let the village go that way, you can. But then don't complain as the village goes down. Don't complain when you see certain things. Okay. And I understand it has to stop. That's why for years I've been saying sell the water. I know now they're in negotiations with United Water. And next year, hopefully, we get a couple $100,000 in our budget, okay? For years, there's been a fight, do we do Orange Avenue or don't do Orange Avenue? I think there's more of an understanding that it's a good thing and we need Orange Avenue, okay? Now, if you're planning on moving this year or next year, I'm not the guy for you. Don't listen to me, okay? If you're planning on staying here, you'll listen to me, okay? Because if you're moving out, if your house is for sale right now, we're going to be for sale next year, the taxes look a little higher. It ain't right for you. The guy buying ain't going to like it, okay? But if you're going to be around, because I made a choice to stay around, okay? And I'm telling you I needed that money. I had a lot of bills and a lot of different things I went through, all right? 1.4 looked good to me, okay? But I chose not to take it, okay? And I turned it down, all right? Because I decided to stay. I decided to stay and take a 17% tax increase. I decided to stay not with the 87th safest community, the #1 safest community in this country, okay? That's where I decided, okay? Because my father brought me here when I was a little kid from Queens, New York, all right? But let me just, I mentioned the Orange Avenue thing, okay? But the budget, I think, 16. All right, and at time, our budget isn't, so we have to consolidate. We have to sell our services to other municipalities here, so that our per dollar cost comes down on us, okay? But even if they take all their fixes and this and that, it's not coming down much, okay? And I'm not saying they're not trying. I'm not here to insult nobody, okay? It just isn't going to come down much, all right? But if you stick with it, and you stick with the plan you were given by your treasurer, okay, you got a shot of making it, okay? Because I don't want the state to put us in the New York Post saying we're the worst, we're the safest community, but yet we're the worst here. Because we can fix it. It sucks, but we can fix it, okay? One more thing, if I can. The water and sewer, I understand, they said, hey, I want to do all this, okay? But just recognize, and the state's going to recognize this too, by what we did with the water and sewer the other night, okay? And again, I get hit I get hit more than anyone here. I got, rooms upstairs. I got Bruce. He takes 3 showers a day. He kills me, okay? But what we chose to do here is, remember, we took the can, we put it on the street, and we kicked the can down the street, okay? You have a choice, you have a chance to say no. Now, when new contracts come up, they seem like they're workable guys, okay? Maybe we got to do things where we don't hire as many full, we go with a little part-time, we negotiate with the guys. They see it, they'll work with us. If you look at the different cuts they did, you'll see people did cuts, okay? But I chose to stay, okay? Thank you, all right?
I had no intentions of speaking, but after that eloquent speech of Mike's, we're all saying kick the can down the road. The can has been kicked down the road for 7 years. It's time to pay the piper. Every year a deficit. Every year the deficit got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So if we get a 17% tax increase, what holds for next year? We're going to borrow another $5 million to pay off our deficits, and we're going to tax everybody 17% on top of it. Does that sound fair to everybody sitting out here? Nobody likes to see cuts. It's time to bite the bullet.
Carrie Adwar, 16 Stockbridge Avenue. At a public budget meeting, Trustee Morris stated that Deputy Mayor Markunas, Trustee Hagen, and himself have been meeting with outside accountants to solicit advice regarding the budget to prepare their adjustments. These questions remained unanswered to the residents whose lives will be affected by this budget. We as residents have a right to know the answers to these questions before you pass this budget. Who are the accountants? Can any of the trustees answer this? No? You must know who you met with. Where are your figures coming from? Who did you meet with? Were the accountants paid for their services? How can you pass this budget with a 5% or whatever it is without answering these questions? It makes no sense whatsoever. Mr. Morris, anything? Who are the accountants?
Number of people.
Why, what's,
I'm not
we as residents have a right to know.
No, you don't.
Oh, yes, we do.
Village
Oh, yes, we do.
Village wasn't charged for any consultations we had with people.
We can't hear you at all, sir.
The village wasn't charged for any consultations we had with anybody. We spoke to probably 15 people, various forms of accountant, and
Tell us some names. Tell us.
There's no point.
Why? Yes, there is a point. Is there a point?
Next question.
I think the Securities and Exchange Commission would want us to know.
The U.S. Attorney's Office, go and file a complaint.
Excuse me?
The U.S. Attorney's Office is available if you think that we violated the law.
I do personally.
File a complaint.
Why don't you just tell us the names of your outside consultants and accountants?
We're not gonna.
Excuse me?
We're not.
We're not.
We're not.
This is what you voted for, people.
Good evening. My name is Isabel Haggerty, 4 Parkside Drive, Suffern, New York. A little bit, okay. When I came in, I had some questions that I wanted to ask you guys, and I found this out as I came in. These were almost the same questions that I was going to ask. So, but the main thing is, it says at a public budget meeting, Trustee Morris stated that the Deputy Mayor Markunas, Trustee Hagen, and himself had been meeting with outside help. That's more than 3 people. Did you people know about the Sunshine Law? You're not allowed to have a meeting to discuss anything unless you have a notice, unless a notice is sent out to the public so that they can be at that meeting. Maybe you guys didn't know about that, but I happen to know about it. Now, so your meetings were illegal, whatever you accomplished with them. In cutting so many different departments, did you consider what you were doing to the services that we taxpayers are entitled to? By cutting services and employees, you will only be encouraging and causing overtime to those employees who are left. And I also want to say, this budget problem did not happen overnight. It took several years to get to this point. Our mayor was the one to bring the situation to a head. As hurtful as it is, the actions taken this year will hopefully bring us around to where we should be in a year or so. Thank you very much.
Sir, could you just give us 1 minute? We just got to switch tapes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. No, wait a second. Just give us 1 minute. I'll let you know when you're ready.
I have to turn the tape over. Hold on. Yes, I want to see it.
Okay.
1 more minute. Now.
Okay, Mr. LaParco?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
I didn't even say my name, and you know who I am. Okay, good evening, trustees and mayor, and everyone from Suffern.
Just state your name and address.
Dan LaParco, 5 Foxwood Avenue, Suffern, New York. By the way, my aunt and uncle eloped at the Suffern Hotel 65 years ago. Where are you? 65 years ago, imagine that? Wow. Okay. This is not easy. I went through this budget and looking at the percentages of the budget. The majority of the budget is the employee benefits and the state mandates for the police department, which we have no control over. I'm trying to understand how are we going to keep these escalating health care costs down and these benefits down. You know, we could probably deal with the other issues. It's no one's fault that we're in this situation. It just snowballed. It just took on a life of its own over the years. And there were no checks and balances. It just freewheeled. It just blew into this big, what I call pie in the sky, this chart. And when I review this chart, I just look at it and I say, we just can't sustain this. Looking at the percentages I'm looking at, even with a 22% tax increase, I don't see how we can come out of this without drastic measures. It's not easy to do, it's not easy to say. No one wants to see anybody lose a job. Everyone is doing a great job, but the reality of it is we can't afford a lot of these things. It's very difficult to do. I'm a union employee, I'm a CISA member. I haven't had a raise in 4 years. I'm at a different level. I haven't had a raise in 4 years. I think about the employees behind me and the impact of the things that are taking place now. The state is on a tremendous spending spree, which we don't even comprehend here. It's unbelievable what they're doing at the state level. And it's just all going to trickle down to us in a very drastic way. And we are faced with just a very difficult task at hand. I'd like to get into a few of these items here. I mean, just bear with me for a minute, because I had to put some of these. Cost of operating curbside solid waste district rise $60,000 from $905 to $965. I know we went through this and we approved that budget. That's fine. We need water. What goes in, it's got to go out. So we need the water, we need the sewer. But why did we have that type of an increase at that particular line item? I don't understand, where that increase came from. Things do go up. And of course, everyone's job is important to them. The next guy works harder than the other guy. You hear me report, I'm the most important guy around. You hand somebody else a report, that Jesus Christ, they're the most important person around. So everybody has their own little their report that they're going to bring to you and tell you they're the most important person. Well, we have to take that collectively, and someone has to make a management decision with those reports and that information that they gathered from the department heads. And if you're not comfortable with making those decisions, then this is not the right job for you. You know, I'm not here to knock people down. We're all here as a community together. The police department, public works, the water, we're all here together. We all want to be successful. We want a very strong, stable community. But in order to do that, we need to step back and reevaluate our position, our bond rating, our stress, our fiscal stress that we've been designated by the Controller's Office. Number one. At least we're number one at something right now. Okay? But
Mr. LaParco, before you go on, can I just make a comment? I just want to let the public know that in going over the budget and trying to find ways to reduce the increase, I did meet with each one of the department heads, and I asked them to please look over their budgets again and cut back their budgets 10%. And I just want to commend each and every one of them, because they certainly sat down and really went through their budgets to make cuts. So you'll also notice that I did work with each one of them. There's no surprises to them. You can ask any one of the department heads in this room that any one of my cuts I discussed with them. I asked what the effects would be and how we could combat anything that would be a direct effect on one of my cuts. So I think that's very important, to work with the department heads, to work with the treasurer, as these are the people who do these jobs every single day. And I'm not down at the sewer plant every day, and I don't want to be at the sewer plant every day. But these are the people who can make us understand how these operations work. That if we don't comply with DEC orders, that it's $38,000 a day fines to the village. You know, with every thing that you do, there's an effect to it.
All due respect.
So we have to do it responsibly.
All due respect, it depends on who at the state level you're communicating with. They're flexible.
I'm sorry?
They're flexible.
Oh, no.
in these
It's
matters.
not that they're not flexible. They've been working with us. The fact of the matter is that at some point you have to take care of this. It's not something that you can keep putting off. So you have to plan for that. And Mike Janito has done an excellent job. I've put all my faith into him. He has done an excellent job.
There's no denying that.
But Mr. LaParco, if you don't take his advice and you go outside of his plan, the plan will not work.
Well, Mike has put the numbers out there. I mean, employee benefits increased $658,000. Approximately $367,000 of this amount is related to an extra payment we will have to make in 2015, 2016 to the New York State retirement system.
Yeah.
I mean, that's beyond our control. How do we...
Beyond our control.
It's beyond our control. There's more. I mean, it's just, there's more. Here, we have the 2014-2015 adopted budget assumed that we would pay the minimum required payment, $1,361,000, and atomized the remainder $420,000 over a 10-year period. Cash was unavailable to pay the retirement bill. In the time frame allowed us the option to amortize, so we will have to make up the difference in 2015. How do we not catch that? Why are we making it up now? What happened that lagged to this? That's where I'm lost. Like these things that are just falling through the
And
cracks.
that payment you're referencing is the $1,128,000?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I just wanted to make sure that we're aware of the payment.
You know, and how do we address these payments to the retirement system? I mean, did it just come out of the thin air?
No, I believe that our
Where-
our treasurer did explain, I don't know, maybe you weren't at that meeting, but he did explain about those payments. Mike, would you like to explain again?
Mayor, in the budget that was prepared for 2014-15, it was anticipated that the retirement payments would be made at the minimum level. You're allowed to pay a minimum level and then amortize a piece of that over a 10-year period. And that's what was apparently planned to be done in 2014-15 when the budget was adopted. As the year went on, the village itself came into a severe cash flow deficit for a number of reasons that has built up over the years. And as such, the village didn't have the money to make the payment by the deadline to allow us to amortize. So that's why the additional payment has to be made.
So to be clear to the,
The pension amount, the base pension,
You have to speak into the mic.
the question here was, or the statement here was that the pension in New York State, the actual costs have gone down. And yes, the rate has gone down, that's true. But once again, if you plan to pay the minimum balance, and because of a cash flow issue, you cannot pay the minimum balance, you then have to pay the higher amount.
so the village was not able to meet that payment last year?
That is correct.
Right. Okay.
So if you...
Well, if
No.
I may, let me correct something about the 2% cap. First of all, everybody should understand it's 2% or the lower of inflation rate that the state comptroller has set. The village did not meet the 2% cap in 2014-15. One of the things that I was alerted to by the state in November was that the state had never, the village had never filed the budget. They never filed the constitutional tax limit. And as such, I went about filing those two documents. When you go online and file them, they had to get a special password and everything to be able to do this. You have what they called applications you can look at. I went to see what else was not filed, and lo and behold, the tax levy cap form was not filed. And when that was completed, it turned out that we were $70,000 over the cap.
That means the previous treasurer did not do his job.
Okay, so forget whose watch. Wait a minute. I'm paying, whose watch is, that's gone. Right now, we're talking about here and now. What do we do to address this now? I don't want a tax increase because I'm paying enough already. I have friends in the neighborhood that are paying, and I live on Foxwood, and I have friends on Crestwood. Some people are paying $17,000 a year. Do you realize how much all of us we're paying? That's just our tax. Forget about commuting to New York City every day. We're taking a train every day. We're talking about a lot of money. This is going to have a tremendous impact on people's lives, seniors, on fixed incomes. Now, people are going to have to suck it up and let the chips fall where they may. We failed to plan. So now we have a big problem on our hands. I say no to a tax increase of this magnitude. No.
Okay.
And that's my response to this increase. No.
Okay. Mr. LaParco, let me
Thank
just
you.
respond to you. Mr. Janito did, in fact, start this year as our recovery year and has used this year to begin a plan of recovery for the village so that the village will not have to feel this large increase in one shot like this going forward. The problem is that already the water and sewer funds budgets, he set forth a plan for them, and they were not accepted by the trustees. Therefore, his plan now for the recovery of this village has a very big problem.
Yeah, Mayor, you were asking for, I believe it was 14?
And 12.
And 12. That's
Right.
huge. You know, I mean,
Did
see,
you-
that's what I mean about the magnitude of the problem here.
Right.
You know,
Did you see what the actual numbers are to the homeowner? Did you get that?
It's Probably, no, I did not. It's probably not a very large number.
It's
In
not.
reality, it's probably not a very large number,
Yeah.
but it's the principle. See, you said, well, okay, we
The
didn't get...
principle, I think, should be is that you have to start somewhere.
Yes, and those are very tough choices to make. As big management
But if you keep,
decisions have to be made.
Right, and this is
You
one
take
of
a
them.
lot of lumps, but they have to be made.
yeah, they have to be, and
You know,
unfortunately, you
I
have to
walk
start
into a
somewhere.
meeting, they see me, they Dan, no. They know me as no. I
Excuse
say
me,
no.
those
That's it.
increases can be large to some individuals.
Oh, yes, they can.
Extremely large to some individuals. Senior citizens, fixed incomes, people without jobs, the increase is large. We cannot deny that. Some people can afford it, a lot of people cannot. We need to learn to do more with less. We've all heard that saying, so we are here to try to do that.
Responsibly, we should do that. Yes.
Responsibly, correct.
Responsibly.
Well, thank you for your time. And
Thank you,
have
Mr. LaParco.
You have a very good man here
Okay,
on
is
the
there anyone,
budget.
Al, can we let somebody else speak that hasn't had the opportunity? Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Patsy Wooters, 19 Mansfield Place. I wasn't going to speak, but I want to say something about paying taxes. I am on a fixed income. I have a public pension, for which I am very grateful. My pension fund is 71% funded. That's because the New York City teachers pension fund loaned money to the city of New York and saved the city. And you know what? They've paid. They never did the amortization or missing payments, so we're in good shape. And I wish that were the case for all the public pensions. I believe that public workers are, generally speaking, underpaid, and they deserve the pensions that they get. But I want to say something about how come we're paying so much for pensions now. We're paying so much for pensions now because the market tanked. The market's not giving us 10% on an ongoing basis any longer. And that's what we counted on getting. And the other thing is, with the turn against public pensions, public sentiment was not protecting them. And the people who managed them handed them over to people who took huge fees and sucked them dry and made poor investments. And the taxpayers of the village are suffering as a result. It's nobody's fault that sits in this room, except if we say, we don't want to pay taxes. Now, for the last, since about 1980, there's been a current in this country. Taxes are bad, we shouldn't be paying taxes. My question is, if you have a helicopter and you don't need to worry about potholes, that works for you. But I drive a car in the road. Suffern's got a lot of potholes. We need to fix those potholes. What fixes potholes? Taxes. If you're a grown-up, you pay for the cost. I already said this about water and sewer, but let me just say something about the sewer and the consent order. And again, no aspersions on anybody in this room, but the village of Suffern has a consent order with New York State DEC. What that means is that the village and the state have negotiated an agreement for the village to bring its system up to par. For the Clean Water Act, guys. That's a law that Nixon signed. We're going to violate that? Are we're going to go, stint on our sewer district? No. If you're a grown-up, you pay for it. You poop and you pay, right? Okay? I mean, that's what an adult does. If you believe in the tooth fairy, you think, I don't have to pay taxes and everything will be fine. It'll go to New Jersey anyway. Nah. It doesn't work that way. We need to stand up and be responsible. I feel very badly for people who've lost their positions. It seems always unfair to me that it's the little guy that takes the heat. If it's in business or if it's in government, it's the little guy that takes the hit, and that's not fair. I don't have any magic answers. The state and the federal government have backed away from their responsibility. Sewer used to be funded by the federal government. And then we all decided we didn't like paying taxes. So you know what? Now it's on us. And I said before, if you want to leave the sewer system to go to the point where it fails, there is a solution. We sell it to United Water, and they turn around and charge us 4 times as much. Do you know what percent that is? 400%. How do you like them apples? That's the future if we don't take care of it.
Is there anyone that would like to speak before we have Al back for a mic check? Sure, come on up.
Hi, my name is Marty Andreas. I live on Wayne Avenue in Suffern. I just wanted to mention, I've worked in the financial services industry all my life. I've dealt with budgets as big as the village of Suffern. I understand what you're dealing with. And I understand that this budget does not rise and fall on the issues of someone to register the Suffern pool people or to clean the rec center. But my concern is, no one answered those 2 questions. They were asked several times, and no one answered. So I'm making an assumption that you don't have an answer, that maybe a mistake was made and someone was cut from the rec center, and you hadn't thought about who's going to clean it, and you hadn't thought about who's going to get all that revenue from the pool money. And I just want to say, if that's the case, please, it casts my doubt on the whole budget. What other mistakes and omissions might have been made? So please, just take a careful look and make sure that, I know cuts have to be made, but the worst thing that a lot of managers do is they make the wrong cuts. And they make cuts to things that are going to bring them money or really hurt them. So that's all I have to say. Just look closely and make sure a mistake wasn't made.
Okay, anybody? Oh.
Hi, Patricia Sanford, 10 Interstate Street, Suffern. I actually wasn't going to talk tonight, but now I just have so much to say. Okay, a few questions. One of the guys from the DPW said that you suggested to them extending the contract to 2020, was it? And you guys didn't take them up on that. Is that because in the back of your mind you're planning on eliminating them? Is that because you're still thinking about doing consolidation and maybe getting rid of our DPW? So why wouldn't you take that into consideration? That kind of just raised a flag to me, first of all. Second of all, I want to get back to the outside accountant thing. I think it's clear that Mr. Morris and Mr. Markunas aren't going to give us any answers. That much we got already. But I want to go a different route and maybe ask Trustee Byrne and Trustee Hagen if you guys are concerned about this. If you guys have an issue. Tonight, Mr. Morris said he talked to 15 outside accountants. I mean, he must be the guy that you just wish would stop talking because he just keeps making it worse. So, I'm just asking, Trustee Byrne, do you have an issue if, in fact, they've spoken to 15 outside accountants regarding our budget?
All I can say is that I didn't speak to any outside accountants myself. I do not know who they did or didn't speak with, and that's my answer.
Do you find it problematic that they're doing so?
I think whatever help we can get from both our treasurer, who is very accomplished and very able, and others that we trust to give advice, I don't generally have a problem with that. That's why you have public hearings, so we can hear from you, and some of you are experts, financial experts, and other kinds of experts. So as a general theory, I don't have a problem with it. 15 people, I didn't speak to any outside accountants. That's all I can say.
Mr. Rice, is it legal for them to be meeting with outside accountants regarding our budget?
Well, I didn't hear the comment, so. you know, as Mr. Byrne said, I mean, it's good to get help from anybody you get help from. The treasurer did, however, make the board aware of some regulations under the Securities and Exchange Act as far as people who give advice to municipalities as far as bonding and so forth being registered. So that's the only issue that is hanging out there.
So it might be illegal.
I don't know all the facts, so I can't say it is or isn't. I'm just saying the treasurer raised the issue of the Securities and Exchange Act.
So do you think that we should have an investigation into this? And listen, I don't want anybody to think, oh, she must be some liberal Democrat. It's not. Trust me, it's not a Republican Democrat thing. I am neither one. But sometimes I feel like in this village, it's so cut and dry with the Republicans and the Democrats. And sometimes I feel like just because you're Republican, you have to stick together. And if I were Republican, I wouldn't want a couple of these people representing me. Like, I would want different, honest Republicans. That's the way I feel. And I just want to say, Mr. Janito, if I were you, I would tell them all go scratch. I mean, you're trying to do your job. They're not letting you do it. Like, every time the guy talks, he makes so much sense. He seems like he just knows his stuff, and we're just screwing it up. I think we have to bite the bullet. I really do. I don't want to see our services cut. I don't want to see people lose their jobs. By the way, I just want to say here, if this craziness goes through, I will volunteer to do the pool registrations. I will help you. And
Will you clean up the community center too?
I will not do the community center after the dare dances. They're disgusting. They smell. But I'm hoping that Mr. Markunas will volunteer with me to do the pool registrations. Thank you.
Trish, I just wanted to make a comment to one of your comments. I personally am not now or ever will be looking to lay off positions in our DPW. They do a superb job. And that's why our village looks the way it does. And these guys go above and beyond. I can tell you that these guys spend a lot of their time volunteering at events, and I, as the mayor of this village, am very proud of that. Thank you.
My name is Andrea Klein. I live on Hillside Avenue. I'd like some clarification as to how you're calculating this tax increase. Because are you calculating it based on the assessed value of a house?
Correct.
So by my calculations, a $40,000 assessed value would equal $6,800 in increased taxes.
No. An increase to your taxes? No.
So how are you calculating the taxes, and what would my tax increase be?
The tax
based on that
increase for, you're talking about the water and sewer, or you're talking about the general?
No, water and sewer is decided. I don't
Okay.
want to deal with
So,
water and sewer.
if you have a
separate
home
meeting.
assessed at $41,700, okay? The annual increase to your taxes will be $439.52.
But how are you getting that?
Okay,
Because
so
you're
it's-
talking about increasing
You take the
this
tax
budget.
rate, you take the original tax rate, okay? You multiply that by .17,
Okay.
okay? That brings you to $10.54, okay?
So you're doing it based on the tax rate, not
Correct.
based on the assessed value?
Well, that's what you have to, well, no, you have to use the tax rate and the increase.
So we're talking about an increase in the tax rate for the assessed value of a house?
Correct.
Okay, okay. I just have one comment, and that is that we as citizens elected you as mayor, as trustees to represent us, as the citizens that live here and appreciate the village and enjoy living in the village. I would hope that you would take a hard look at the budget. I think we've all gone through times, none of us is living high on the hog by any means. We've all had to tighten our belt and tighten our budgets, and I would hope that you go and look at this budget and do so equitably throughout the departments and do the best job you can. I think that we're all of the ilk that we need to increase the taxes. It's the amount of the tax increase that I think that we're all having a reaction to have a double-digit increase in water, in sewer, and property taxes in 1 year is a lot for one person to take. And you've got to consider your constituency when deciding these things. Thank you.
Hang on, Al, there's some more people ahead of you.
Andrew Zavosky, 3 Center Street, Suffern, New York. I lost my job about 7 years ago. I was one of 5,000 people to be eliminated from the corporation. People do fail, corporations do fail, and sometimes people have to pay the price. I would hope that this board here makes some really tough decisions and have to eliminate positions to get the budget in shape. It's unfortunate. If you think about recreation, okay, yeah, it's a nice thing to have, but it's not an essential service. The police department is a very essential service that we need, and I thank our chief over here for doing an excellent job with the police department and keeping us very safe. But we have to start thinking about the person who's on a fixed income. And I'm just sorry to say, I am struggling right now. My family is struggling right now. But as I said before, if you have to eliminate these positions, that's what you have to do. If I was sitting on that board, I would be at the Suffern Fire Department getting a big axe and taking it to the budget. You have to think about the people on fixed incomes. We cannot keep taking these increases every time we turn around. It's unfair.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, Al, you're up. Oh, I'm sorry. That's no fair. You
Again,
spoke
Scott
already.
Brown, CSEA President here in the Village of Suffern. My one question, the 2 layoffs, or the 2 non-funding positions, just off the top of my head, it's around $19,000?
The vacant positions you're talking about?
No, the 2 that aren't going to be funded in the Recreation Department. It's
Oh,
about
it's
$19,000.
1,300
If
and- Yes,
it's,
17 and 13. 17,000 and 1,300, yes.
so you're talking 18,000, well, whatever it is, we'll use
Right.
$19,000. What percentage is that? I mean, to put 2 people out of work, I mean, are we really saving? I mean, that's going to break the budget, these 2 salaries of $19,000?
Not when you look at the revenue that comes in from the pool passes.
I just don't understand it. Mike, can you tell us what the percentage on the $19,000 has effect on this budget? It can't be much.
20%.
About every $9,600 is a 0.1%, so probably about 0.2% or so.
0.2%.
0.2%, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Oops, I have another gentleman coming. Al? I have another gentleman.
Hi, I'm Josh Brooks. I live at 72 East Maple Avenue in the Village. Ironically, this is my first time in a Village meeting, so this has been a nice little take on our Village politics. I want to address the big elephant in the room and the glaring silence that most of our board members have had tonight. This is, again, like I said, a real strange first encounter with Village politics. Oh, no, Mr. Morris, you've been speaking, I know.
No,
but-
I can't hear you.
Oh, my apologies. Mr. Morris, we know you've been speaking. Mr. Hagen, I haven't heard your voice. I don't know what you sound like. Board members, I really want some answers to these questions, though. I mean, the gentleman before who was handing the flyers out brought up very good points. The woman sitting behind me, Mr. Rice, you were out of the room at the time, brought up the Sunshine Law, referring to the fact of 3 or more people from the Village Board meeting with outside accountants. I'm not sure the exact specifics. I want to know what the legality is on that, because as far as I'm concerned, I heard an illegal action from our elected representatives. But I understand the silence behind it all, because that's what we've been getting all night. Now, I want you to understand something. I moved to this village when I was 6 years old with my parents in 1998. I went through the school system here. I was an RP Connor. My dare officer is the chief of our police system right here. I went to the middle school, went to the high school, and I was taught a very valuable lesson about respect. And when people ask you a question, you give them an answer.
Al, I think you're up. Nobody else is getting up. Come on, Al. Hurry up before somebody stands up. Al closes the show.
I don't know. This has been a good meeting. A lot of good audience. A lot of good people up front scratching their heads, trying to figure answers out. Not easy. I know that we talk about, oh, I'm on fixed income. All right, I was on fixed income as of 2010. When I got dropped off from my job, I was earning $40,000, and anything I earned beyond that was strictly on overtime, and that meant I worked overnight, many a night, and had a limo when the company was doing good to come home, but that's how I was able to pay for my home. Otherwise, I couldn't have afforded it, because $40,000 is nothing. You have a teacher, she's got her income, and I can guarantee you could probably double or triple it, mine. And those people who talk about the heavy taxes that they have, oh yes, but they're making damn good money too. And I did what I had to do, earning crap, in order to make it work. So 2, 3 in the morning, yes, I'd be coming home by a limo. But that meant I didn't have my family, and that meant I suffered for God, country, family, and home, and all of that. Now, of course, we're dealing with what we have. We have very little here. And that's what keeps coming back to you, and you have to face it. If you have very little, you can't have the luxuries. If you have a school and you want an additional attachment to it, you can't have it. You want a special thing for your kids who have a problem? Sorry, you can't have it. You think you can? You're going to go down the tubes with me too, because you can't have it. I can't have it. You can't have it. I'm paying anything I do on my limited income. So we're all in the same boat. We talk about, hey, we have to pay something we inherited because people didn't register something. They didn't file something. Oh, but let's not say whose administration it was. All right, we have it now. But poor management, past, present, maybe, or whatever for the future, it's haunting us. Now you have to bite the bullet. You do have to bite it. You're all going to go down the same damn tubes. And you may pretend you're not, but you will. If it's going to hurt me, it's going to hurt you too. The country's in big trouble, and if you don't know that, you're dumb.
No.
The state's in big trouble, and we're in big trouble. So you have to start, no luxuries. We can't have it. You think having a pool and everything is great? Fine, then you have volunteers. You have a problem getting people to do work? You get people from the jails to do the work. You get the Boy Scouts to do it. You do anything you can to get it, but you don't spend money. Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
I'm just coming back up because I never got an answer to my question.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Jim, did you want to speak, Carolyn?
Carol, you want to go?
Okay.
All right, sorry, Carol. I asked the question, we're going to face a 17, 18, whatever percent increase it is. We're going to borrow $5 million to pay off our deficits. What are we looking at next year? Do we have a 5-year plan? And if you do, share it with us.
Well, Jim, the treasurer did have a 5-year plan. Unfortunately, the trustees chose not to go with the 5-year plan.
The plan was never presented to the trustees, and that's what we have been searching for also.
Okay,
That's a big concern of ours, is the 5-year plan that we've been hearing about.
Mike, would you like to speak with regards
If
to
it
the
could be
conversations
shared.
that you've had?
Mayor, do you have it to share?
This is our chief financial officer, and he is the one who... No, I'm not. I'm the chief executive officer, but thank you, Mr. Genentino. You would have thought that, being mayor, you would know that, but you were the chief executive officer. Well, speak up, Terry. Speak up, Terry.
No plan.
He wants to, he's saying that I'm the chief financial officer.
Mayor is the chief executive officer, the treasurer is the chief financial officer, the mayor is the chief budget officer when it comes to presenting the tentative budget.
When it's...
But the chief financial officer is the treasurer.
Okay. Mr. Janito, would you like to speak on that? Thank you.
I have had several discussions with the board, the mayor and the board, about our plans going forward in order to address these deficits. Part of that plan involves that long-term deficit financing, which we've been discussing with our bond counsel and our financial advisors. Financial advisors being people that Capital Market Associates and our bond counsel from Hawkins Delafield. At any rate, in addition to our auditors, our current auditors. As such, I've discussed those plans with the board, and while we haven't laid out a formal document, it's partly because we've discussed these issues. I presented to the board a projection on where some of these areas may be going with the water, the sewer, and the general fund, and where that deficit financing might fall into place. Part of the plan, of course, is dealing with the revenue anticipation notes we have currently outstanding and the budget note as well as the deficiency note. These are all notes borrowed for cash flow purposes. And part of that deficit amount, the financing, is based upon what we need to pay those back and then get back on track. So while we haven't developed the formal document, the white paper, if you will, we certainly have had many discussions, and I know several of them individually with board members here, no more than 3 at a time. No, but I want to say that because the board members, all of them, have been very good, as well as the mayor, in meeting with me on several occasions, exchanging, in addition to that, emails, phone calls at all times of the day or night, and I welcome that, because that shows me that they're very interested in making sure that we do something about this issue. So we don't have the white paper per se. We will be developing that. We have actually information out to our auditors at the moment on how to develop some of the parts of that plan. So we don't have a formal document at the moment, but we do certainly have the framework for that plan in place, and that framework was based upon advice, as I said, from our bond counsel, financial advisors, auditors, and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Great explanation, and I believe that the audience also is looking for a 5-year plan. On your behalf, we did discuss it at length numerous times. Also, I believe the 5-year plan should include something that is developed that will fundamentally change the structuring of the village, or the financial, other than the financial plan of the village, to build on and to move ahead and not continue to kick the can down the road. Understandable that we have the financial plan, the long-term deficit, the $5 million loan that we need to take to pay off our deficits. This is a continuing situation that we're in, and we need to develop a full 5-year plan and have it. People have been asking us, where is your plan? What is your plan? Other than the financial end of it, which we need to strategize with, Mayor.
Yes, and as you know, we have been also working on many things since over the last 6 to 9 months in terms of developing better controls and procedures in the village, so that as the budget starts approaching an area, a line in the budget starts to approach an area where it may go over, that we stop that process and we investigate it more fully. Everyone's using purchase orders for very small amounts of money. Believe me, I get calls from the people in the sewer and water department about buying a $25 item. I get a call like that at 10 o'clock in the morning. We need a $25 item. Can we buy it? But I appreciate that, and I like that, because they're all interested. And that's one thing I have to say. This entire village, all of the employees that are working for the village, they're all working very hard to solve this problem. And they're all very patient and understanding about it. And I haven't seen resistance or anger or a reluctance to try to work with this issue. So I think we're going to get there. It's just a matter of all of us working together on it. And these things, as you said, the plan has to be more than financial. It has to talk about the processes we follow, the philosophies we have, and to follow the best practices that are out there. There's plenty of good examples across the country, and we can emulate those. Suffern, as I've said for many times, is a great place. It will continue to be a great place. It's not only the safety, which is great kudos to our police department and Chief Osborne, but as well our fire department, the great work it does, our public works. I mean, I know that I don't currently live in the village. My sister still lives here. I was born and raised in this village. I still own a two-family house in this village, so in many ways I pay twice as much as most people for some things. But the fact of the matter is, it's a great village, and I know one thing. If you have an issue with your public works, meaning whether it's garbage pickup or a street issue, they get right on it. If you need something for recreation, Kathy Mills is the first one to call you up and say, what can I do to help you out? So all of these departments are out there, and I hope I'm not missing anybody. The village clerk's office, Virginia's been here for 100 years. And I get calls from Virginia. You know, I did today with her concern about making sure that everything is just right in this village and that residents that want things get them. And we get FOIL requests in, and I get phone calls about that. And our position on FOILs is unless it's really a confidential matter, it should be released immediately. And as we grow with things and improve our website and so forth, we'll have a lot more information out there for the public to just be able to download and look at it. Any rate, I won't go on about that, but
Thanks,
it really,
Mike.
I
Mike, I
think...
also want to mention that we also, Mike and I have spoken about, and we've started to formulate a five-year plan for maintenance of the village and replacement of the village. So that would include buildings, needs of the buildings, replacement of vehicles, maintenance for vehicles. There's never really been a plan to prepare for the future, and I think that's a lot of where the problem lies in this village, is there's no plan going forward. We also had buying in this village in every department to every different place you could think of. It was Staples, it was W. Mason was using. Now we're going to have a procurement where we're going to go to state bid for all of our supplies. We're going to have a central supply. So we're really doing things to move forward and to cut back. It's just going to take some time. We have to get back on track. If we follow Mr. Janito's plan, and he's worked very hard within the financial experts of this village, I know we can come out of this. I hate when I hear that this village is broke or bankrupt. If we lose our spirit, we will be. But I believe this village has a lot of spirit and a lot of good employees that are not going to let that happen. Just come up to the microphone so we could hear you, and then we're going, if there's no one else, we're going to close it. We have a workshop following this budget vote, so please, if you'd like to stay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand this $13,492,600.
Where are you?
What is that? Is that our total budget?
Yeah, you're looking at the tentative budget before any of the changes that have been submitted by the, can everybody hear that? Yeah, I believe you're looking at the original tentative budget that was out there.
Hang on 1 second, Mike, we got to change the tape.
Oh, we gotta change the tape, Mike.
Sure. Let's go back to the makeup room. Yes, that's the total budget.
Okay.
If I take this,
Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Leparco, you can go ahead. Mr. Leparco?
Yes,
you're on.
the number that Mr. Leparco is referring to is in the tentative budget without any adjustments to it. And that is the amount that, the total budget for the general fund of $13,492,000. And obviously that number has changed, not officially, but has changed due to all of the proposed amendments by the board, the mayor and the board.
And what would that be, Mike, the totally amended changes, so he's aware?
The totally amended changes comes out to almost $600,000. The new,
$670,797.
Correct. And what is the total appropriations? So,
the
gentleman is
revised
aware.
total appropriations are now $12,925,088.
Okay, thank you.
It's a little over $1 million a month.
Yes.
Operating.
Okay, are you done, Mr. LaFarco?
Thank you, yes, I am.
Thank you. Okay. So, may I have a motion to close the public session?
Well, before, I'm sorry.
We're just closing the public session, you'll still be able to talk. You'll
Okay.
still be able to talk.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, public session is now closed. Mr. Markunas.
Yes, I would just like to explain a little further, or maybe Mr. Janito will be able to, or the mayor. Did we ever receive a response from the Comptroller's Office that conducted the review on this current, or the tentative budget that was proposed?
No, as a matter of fact, I had a conversation with the gentleman, the auditor from the State Comptroller's Office earlier this week, and he did not have his report ready yet. He's still working on
He
it.
was still collecting information, as a matter of fact.
Well, yes, and
Okay, so
I
all that
think
it-
he's gathered all the information he needs, but takes some time to go back to the office. He has other
But as of this-
assignments.
As late as of this week, we were still sending him information.
Right, but as of yesterday, I believe he's collected everything, Mayor. I don't,
Okay.
there's probably an update for you as
Okay.
well, but it normally takes a few days once they gather it all,
Right.
go back to the office and proof it.
Right, that is my understanding. I just want to make the village residents aware that we have not received the report from the Comptroller's Office as of today, as Mr. Janito indicated.
Correct.
Thank you.
Would anybody else from the board like to speak?
Mike, you can stay seated, you don't have to get up.
No, he has to get up, he has to speak into the
Well, you may
microphone.
not, yeah, you can maybe nod, I'm not sure it's going to take a long answer.
All right. If it isn't you, it's Jim Giannattino.
To me, there's at least one issue here, for me, that's a no-brainer, and that is the issue of the pool registration clerk. $1,300, we're not talking about a huge change to a budget. My question would be, we'd like to adopt a budget tonight. If we move to amend, I don't know what support there is, I haven't talked to anyone about this, but I would be prepared to make a motion to amend the tentative budget to include the $1,300 for the pool registration clerk. Can that simply be done, and we'll still be able to, in fact...
I believe so. I don't
mean,
think
it's
that
such
would,
a minimal-
it wouldn't impact the tax rate.
Right.
It's so small.
Okay. Thank you, that's my question.
Okay. Is the board prepared to do the amendments and vote on the budget? We should go forward, there's no tabling, there's no till tomorrow or anything?
Want to do it tonight?
You're doing it tonight? Ed, you're fine with that? You ready?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay,
Yes.
Mr. Morris, you ready? Mr. Hagen, okay.
What we have
Okay,
there is
so,
the-
in fact, there's a lot of amendments. I don't believe that the amendments that I proposed, there was any objection to, Mike, so if you want to group them and do them first, and then we could go down the other ones, since there are going to be some changes, such as the pool registration assistant. So could we get those out of the way first? Would that be okay?
Certainly,
Well, excuse me for one second. I would like to hear all of the amendments that were...
Yeah, but you have to do each one.
Yes, okay, correct.
So if we could do the first, instead of doing them one by one, we could group, we'll read them, they'll be read,
Right,
but we'll just group them and approve them in a group instead of doing one by one. So I don't have to do a motion and a second for each one of them. We'll read them all, and then I'll ask for a motion and a second, and we can approve that portion.
and if you don't approve one part of
Then-
the
then we
portion, what
can't
would
do
you
it.
like to do?
We may have to separate them out.
Separate
Right,
them
But these,
out.
I don't believe anybody, the top portion of them, I don't believe anyone had a problem with. Let me read them off.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So we have eliminating all non-union raises, reduced various salaries and benefits by $104,943. Eliminating 2 new police officer positions, reduced police salaries, $67,694. Reduce village board contractual, $48,000 by deleting outside counsel. Reduce fire department contractual by $9,150. Reduce vacant street maintenance labor position, $35,029. Reduce street maintenance contractual by $57,000. And reduce snow removal contractual by $11,000. Does anyone have any objections to those?
Just to be clear, those are already in the tentative revised...
They are
that's
in this
online,
tentative
correct?
revised, the budget
Right,
that
but
you
they
have in
to be
front of you
adopted.
tonight.
The amendments have to be
Right,
adopted.
okay.
Okay, is there a motion?
Does that, now that, hold on one second. Does that reflect the trustee portion?
No.
Okay,
We're going to have to do those one by one because we can't group them because of the recreation assistant. So I'll read those next.
So you have
So can we have a motion for these that I just read?
Motion.
Motion
Right.
to amend
Amend
the tentative budget.
the tentative
with
budget
those
to
changes.
reflect these changes.
Motion to amend.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes. I'm going to... No, because I'm... Okay, the first one, we'll have to do these separately. Reduce village board salaries of $4,250. Do I have a motion?
And that, just for clarification, is the reduction in salary for mayor and trustees.
No.
Trustees first.
Incorrect, trustees first.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, do I have to do roll call on each one, right? Yeah, I do. Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Reduce village board contractual $10,500.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Reduce mayor's salary of $3,000.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote no, and I will tell you why. I am presently at a salary of $30,000 at a part-time position. I had another part-time job when I came in as mayor. I have not taken a raise in all of the years I have served this village. This job is not a part-time job, and in order to find all of the problems financially with this village, you need a full-time mayor here. I gave up my job, my part-time job, and dedicated myself to this village at a salary of $30,000. I did not take a car. I did not take a cell phone. I use my own personal car, I pay my own insurance, and I do my own repairs on my car. I have given back all that I can to this village already, and now I'm being asked to take another $3,000 off the top of my salary. I work here 24 hours a day, I'm on call. I come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm here at 6 o'clock in the morning. I dedicate myself to this village. I've given back a lot. So for the trustees to propose for me to take another $3,000 cut in my salary as my only sole source of salary, and also have to pay all my expenses to do this job, I think is unfair. I vote no.
Mayor,
But it is
but you don't
passed.
pay all your expenses. And your
I do
contractual...
get mileage, I'm very sorry, I do
Right,
take
and your
mileage.
contractual expenses is worth $4,500
That doesn't
to
mean
your
I'll
salary.
that doesn't mean I will be taking all of that, Mr. Markunas.
Okay, that's
There are-
fine, but I just
I only
want
took $2,700 last year.
I want the village
Right.
residents to know that
Right.
we are trying to make a concerted effort here amongst the board also
But
to
no-
take these reductions.
None of you have given up already things. You're just taking a $1,000 cut in your salary. None of you have given up anything else. And none of you are here full-time. I'm here 12 months out of the year, with the exception of maybe a week. Okay, remove 2 police
Mayor,
dispatcher.
I'm here 12 months a year. I gave up 10% of my salary. We asked you to give up 10% of yours in good faith to help the village. I don't understand why you have a problem with it.
I think I
Excuse
just mentioned why
I don't
I did.
understand.
Okay, I know you don't. Okay, remove 2 police dispatchers at $21,481 each. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote no. Again, I'd like to explain, in speaking with the chief, he has alerted me that these 2 police, part-time police dispatchers, which totals an amount of, $21,481, are 2 police part-timers that he used instead of hiring a full-timer with benefits. If he was to lose these 2 part-time dispatchers, there may be occasion with vacations, people going out sick, that he will have to put police officers on the desk. That's a very big expense to this village. So I will therefore vote no, and I will support the chief in his recommendation to keep these 2 part-time dispatchers on to save this village money.
Just a note on that, we talked to them about it, and, I'm sorry. We talked about this in discussions, and a simple changing of their charge system would solve this problem.
Okay, the chief didn't agree. I did consult with him. Reduce police overtime $60,000 from $240,000 to $180,000. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote no. I did speak to the chief and consulted him on this. Already, before we took 2 police officer positions out of his budget, he has gone over already this year on his overtime budget. I do not feel, with the winter that we've had, a repeat performance, or one emergency in this village, we are responsibly funding the overtime of this village. Whether we like it or not, the police are vital here. And if there is an emergency and we have a rough winter, we need to have our police officers there. So I will vote no, under the advice of the police chief that is not funded properly. Okay, the next one is reduce street maintenance overtime, $35,000. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Again, I will vote no in speaking with the DPW supervisor and our department head. They tell me that they did, as Mr. Brown stated, went over on their overtime already. We're reducing something we already know is a possibility in this village. I will not be irresponsible in reducing that number and causing there not to be snowplows out on the street.
We need to do more with less. That's what we need to do.
Well, you can't control Mother Nature.
You are correct.
Who was it, Clerk?
But we need to do more with less. We need to get the finances in control.
And in a
we
perfect
need to,
world-
excuse me, Mayor.
Yeah.
We need to get the spending in control. That ranges from overtime, that ranges from salaries, that ranges throughout the village.
Okay.
Please, you must understand this.
I don't understand when we've already gone over on it this year with the winter that we've had, how you can expect that if we have a winter like that again, that we're going to stay. 90% of that overtime went to those snow events. Okay, eliminate recreation pool registration, recreation assistant. Do I have a motion?
Is that the $1,300?
Yeah, that's at $1,300.
We'll strike that.
No motion.
No motion?
No motion.
No.
Okay, no motion. Reduce playground and rec equipment, $11,800.
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. Eliminate Recreation Community Center part-time custodian, $19,211.
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
No.
And I vote no, motion is carried. Add $10,000, which is part of the reduction in the village board contractual of $10,500. Add $10,000 to the planning. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
We're essentially just moving this from one line to
You
another?
want one to another?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. Reduce parking department salaries, $65,670, and increase contractual, do I have to do that in two separate, Mike, or is that okay on both? The last one, the very last one. Reduce parking department salaries, $65,670, and increase contractual, $12,000.
Right, that contractual increase on the discussions with Mr. Shedler, that's
Okay,
a person that,
Right.
is
I wanted to know if it was okay by you to do it together. Is there any objection from the board to do it together?
No.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
No, I have an objection, just to be clear, on the amount, it was 65,708?
670.
607, excuse me.
Yep, and
Now-
the increased contractual is 12,000.
Correct. Okay.
Okay? Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Yes, second.
You motion, Mr. Morris. Who has the
Yes.
second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just one minor thing, as was brought to our attention earlier, the part-time people that are covered under the CSEA contract, that the increases were not in here, it appears that the total amount for that is about $2,098. That should not make a difference either in the tax rate,
Motion.
so we can keep the same rate.
Motion
We
to
need a
amend
motion for
22.
that?
I think you need a motion
Okay,
just
we have a
to amend the
motion?
budget
Okay, second.
to
Second.
reflect that.
Okay, Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I would also like the village residents to know that the non-contractual increases, who they pertain to, can we itemize them?
Non-contractual
Right, the
increases?
non-contractual.
You can do the positions, sure.
The positions, right.
Yeah, there are only certain people, there are full-time individuals who are not covered by a collective bargaining unit in the CSEA, their position titles, I believe it's DPW director, the village attorney, the recreation coordinator, and am I leaving it?
Village attorney. The deputy village attorney also?
Oh,
Right.
yes, the deputy village attorney,
The assessor?
and the assessor, yes.
Okay.
And
I just want to make sure
the
that
clerk?
Oh,
The village clerk?
and the clerk, but hers wasn't increased in the budget anyway.
the clerk didn't have an increase.
No,
Thank
wants-
you.
That's who it would pertain to.
Yes,
She wants to stay 101 years, so
but
she...
we would like to, we
Okay.
would like to make the village aware that those raises were declined.
Okay, we are going to need a motion to adopt the 2015-2016 budget
They wouldn't
with
know
the
it's in there.
amendments that were just approved. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
The amendment.
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote no. I will not vote on this budget. I will not be a part of the fact that there may be some unlawful advice giving to the trustees to formulate this budget. I will not be a part of that. They will not disclose to this village, myself or the treasurer. They will not discuss what they discussed with these outside accountants with our treasurer to make sure that these advice that they have gotten is in full knowledge of the whole picture of the village. So I just can't vote yes on for those reasons.
So, Mayor,
The 2015-2016 budget is passed.
no,
and
Mayor,
will-
I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm sorry. We just voted on the amendments
No,
to
you
the,
just voted
to
on
the
the budget.
budget.
The adoption of the budget, I made it very clear, Mr.
If
Markunas.
Mayor?
Okay, in that instance, I'd like to retract my vote and vote no.
You can't do that.
Can I amend my vote, Terry?
It doesn't really matter.
No, it does matter.
No, I mean, it doesn't, that's not what I meant. I meant it doesn't really matter because you have 3 yes votes.
I would like to put on the record that I vote no for the 2015-2016 budget.
Okay.
I am appalled at the rate that these village residents are going to be they're going to take this burden on.
Okay, so the
I
record
vote
should
no.
reflect that Mr. Markunas voted no. Okay, but the budget still passed, Mr. Markunas, so that you know, it's 3-2.
If I just have a question, perhaps for Terry. We voted on the general fund budget. Is there a requirement to vote on the water fund budget, the sewer fund budget, or the debt service fund budget?
Yes, you should do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to do them one at a time?
Well, you can do them one at a time, but we already discussed the water and sewer rates, which are actually funding those budgets.
So
So
they would,
hopefully, there's no changes to the budgets of the water and the sewer fund.
Want me to do it first?
yeah, Mike, you can propose them all together.
Okay, so if you would, no.
Excuse me.
There was a question on whether the budgets were voted on the other night. No, the rates were voted on, but not the budgets.
No, only the rates were, you didn't adopt the
Yeah,
budget.
so,
So the budgets before you as amended for the water fund, the sewer fund, and the debt service fund. Those are the ones that are before you that you can vote on, and according to Mr. Rice, we can vote on all three of them at once.
Unless anybody has an objection.
Listen,
Mr. Janito, all the changes that we made are in there.
yes, they are, and the rates in the water and the sewer reflect the rates you adopted the other day that support those budgets.
Thank you.
Motion to adopt water, sewer, and debt service budgets.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote no, and I'm not going to give you the reasons again. You've heard them all before, but the motion is carried. I need a motion to adjourn the, do I need the public portion, meeting, yes. Yes. Moved by Mr. Byrne. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.